Welcome back. I'm back with another recap. This is a recap of the fourth and final race of the 2021 CARVE Crit Series. We are very appreciative for everything they do to keep racing alive in the Central Arkansas area. This race took place on August 1st at the Natural Resources Complex in Little Rock, the same venue as race number 1. A lap is a little less than 3/4 of a mile. The weather was really nice, moderate humidity, and we had a slight wind from the north. And overall, it was a really good day for racing. Allow me to get my excuses out early. I was off the bike most of the week due to an ongoing back injury, so I'm coming into this race well rested but with very heavy legs. So my expectations for this race were quite low, but if I could just finish with the pack, then I would consider that a success. With that said, my plan coming into this race was to simply survive. That hill at the end was definitely a make or break point on this course, and early on I wanted to control the pace, so I ended up going to the front, and I kind of hoped that they would just let me tow them around at tempo for 25 minutes, but they did not cooperate with that plan. So yeah, on this day we had about 13 or 14 entries in the C.A.R.V.E race, and with the difficulty of the course mixed with the pace, it was too much for some, and the pack ended up being whittled down to about 9 of us. There aren't really any flat areas on this course. It's just all rollers. You're either climbing or descending. Sitting in for a free ride, that just wasn't happening. You always had to do some work, but it was a good course for race, and it was pretty fun. That 12% grading at the end, it required like 800 watts lap after lap, and then you go around the turn into another 5% grade, and there wasn't really a whole lot of time to recover, so I had to manage my efforts carefully.
Somebody off the front here. Everybody give him a scream. there, Tom.
And for efficiency, I tried to stay mid-pack to give myself some slipping room. There were a few times where someone either went off the front or the pace just suddenly picked up, and I just let a gap open so my minions would close it down. No offense, minions. But this particular time right here, I thought this group could make a legitimate break. They had some serious firepower. They had Adam, the eventual winner, Elliot, Alex, and one of the Fort Roots team members. So I was a little concerned about this one. So I did kind of ramp up the effort a little bit to chase it down. And fortunately, they didn't. Fortunately, they weren't paying attention to the race behind them. They could have really applied some pressure to the rest of the pack. But we were back on them pretty quick. I don't know if being in a breakaway with such a small field, I'm not sure if that serves me in particular. I'm perfectly fine with, keeping the group intact and contesting the final sprint. That's kind of my style. I know I'm giving away all my secrets, but yeah, if you race with me a couple times, you know what I'm about. So next year, though, it's going to be different. Just wait. So don't count on that next year.
They're holding up a little bit of a lead. This is the pack. Another gift card. Another gift card. Another gift card.
I struggled to get in the groove in some of the corners. Like people in front of me were taking weird lines, and I always try to go from the outside, hit the apex of the corner, then back to the outside. So it looked and felt like I was cutting people off most of the race, but that is the straightest and fastest line. So It just felt like I was tapping brakes and overlapping wheels the entire race, and it got pretty sketchy a few times. Had some close calls, but other than that, maybe I need to just work on, letting the gap open a little bit more before the turn. I'm not really sure, but it was kind of difficult in some of the areas. That's one thing I did notice. I was kind of struggling through some of the corners just because it was always someone in the way. But that's racing. It happens. It's all good. Racers went off the front a few times during this race. It didn't really look like they were trying to break away or anything, but they stayed away longer than you would think they would, which got me to thinking I'm not sure how much drafting benefits you get on this course. Half of the front straight was a climb, and the other half was like a downhill into a headwind. So you're always much faster than the bike in front of you, to the point where you either have to drift out of the pace line or tap your brakes or whatever. And then the back section was rollers with a slight tailwind. So I'm not sure how much draft benefit you got from this course, but it just felt like a lot of work the entire race, whatever the situation is. The pace stayed fairly hot most of the race. Our average speed was actually higher than the B race, but of course the B race was a little longer. But in our race, every lap was, sub 2 minutes. So that was pretty cool. Just being able to hang on to the pack was, encouraging.
About 10 laps to go.
But as all races go, the pace did eventually ease up, and everybody would kind of set up and rested up for the finale, and that's pretty much how the race went into the final lap. On the final lap, I'm pretty much hating all things bikes. I'm thinking of other things I could be doing with my life. My legs, they just weren't there. I don't know. I can't explain it. I will say I have completely neglected my endurance zone this past month for whatever reason. Most of it during this race, most of it was probably mental, but I just could not turn the pedals over. I don't know. On this last lap, I needed the pace to slow up just a hair so I could gather my bearings and kind of recoup just a little, so I can just maybe launch or try to launch a final attack. But that pace did not. It didn't happen. It didn't ease up. They were kind of pushing the pace on the back section, and once we got to the final climb, I just completely unraveled, and I just could not hold the pace any longer. And it's kind of hard to look back on being so close, but so far, but it happens. At the same, I gave it my all, and I didn't have anything more to give on that day. So anyway, I dragged myself across the line. I ended up finishing 9th in this race. But you know, that old saying, don't let success go to your head and don't let failure go to their heart. That couldn't be more true, especially in bike racing. And of course, I always try to be. I want to be on the podium, but bad races are always teachable moments. And you know, it is what it is. We still had a good time. Everyone kept the rubber side down. Everyone raced clean. Great group of fit people to race with, and it was awesome. It was just more with this course. It was just like this interval session, and you know, you have to be fit to hang on. So I'm proud of myself for that. You know, but that's what it is. I finished 9th, and we had another great day of racing, and I'm looking forward to the next race. So here it is. Final stats: my average power was 183 watts, 228 normalized. And my average speed was 22.9 miles per hour. And yeah, here's the rest of it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to my next race. Shout out to CAR for putting on a great series. Shout out to Pinnacle Velo for their support and getting more people into racing. But yeah, anyway, guys and gals, thank you for listening to my babble once again. And until next time, peace.